This is the Toyota 4Runner. It hasn't had a new generation since 2009. Sure, it's had a facelift between now and then, but 2009 was 13 years ago. So how do you keep customers interested in a 13-year-old product? Well, one, by making it legendarily reliable and durable, but also by introducing special versions or trims. Currently, on the Toyota website, there are 8 individual trims of 4Runner for sale. And what we're going to do today is drive the newest and weirdest one there is. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the 2022 Toyota 4Runner TRD Sport. It's been about a year since this thing debuted, and I was perplexed back then, and now after having spent a week with it, I'm still perplexed. Now, we'll get to why I'm still kind of perplexed over this thing in a minute, but what we have to do right now is jump behind the wheel and figure out what this thing is.
This, of course, is Toyota's dedicated go-to off-roader. It's body on frame. It has a 4-liter V6 engine with a 5-speed automatic transmission, and it is very slow. You can get this in a 2-wheel drive. We have the 4x4 version today, and I actually can't think of anything less 4Runner than a 2-wheel drive TRD Sport.
Now, Paulo kind of hits the nail right on the head there. I mean, this seems just like a really strange thing to roll out to the 4Runner. I mean, a sport trim? Sure, it has a big 4-liter naturally aspirated V6, but it's only making 270 horsepower. And the 5-speed dinosaur automatic transmission, sure, they're bulletproof, but it's not like it provides any theater or any sport. I mean, 0 to 60 still takes over 7.5 seconds. However, it's not like they haven't done anything to sharpen the old girl up.
You do get 20-inch wheels and more street-oriented tires, and genuinely, this is probably the best on-road manners that we've ever felt in a 4Runner. It's literally worlds ahead of Matt's 4Runner that he previously had. But one of the biggest things that Toyota did to add the sport treatment to this was to add the Strangest suspension. There's a very technical explanation for how this system works, but it basically includes a diagonal connected shock with hydraulic oil going through a center floating piston. However, I guess in simple terms, it's road-based sport suspension.
And it works shockingly well. This thing stays so much flatter through a corner than like a KDSS equipped car. There's so much less pitch and roll on turn and acceleration and braking. It's so much more at home here on the road. Of course, you have, more street-oriented tires, so I have a better idea of what the front end is doing. It just feels a little bit sharper. Overall, it just feels like the Strangest suspension, the tires, and some of the little changes that they've made have gone such a long way. And with the mention of Strangest, Toyota specifically says that they brought this type of suspension setup to the 4Runner to help aid in on-road performance without hampering off-road credibility. So let's head to Road America and see if that's true.
So this is kind of an unusual situation. Matt usually isn't in the car with me when we do off-road things.
Buckle up for safety.
So this isn't going to be a huge part of the video, mainly because you wouldn't really buy a TRD Sport for off-roading.
Correct. But since it is a 4Runner, it's still body on frame. It is a dedicated off-roader. This is the dedicated off-roader SUV in Toyota's lineup. If you don't off-road your 4Runner, you should just get a Highlander, which I think is going to be the point of this video.
Yep.
But so we're basically going to see if it makes sense, or if you can even still off-road with the 4Runner TRD Sport. Of course, what we have here is 20-inch wheels, which is a little less than ideal for off-roading, and you have all-season tires, so also not ideal for off-roading. And in tandem with that, it snowed last night because that's just where we live, apparently.
Which actually might help. Okay, so now...
Should we go that way?
I'm gonna just go this way. So we do have a 2-way transfer case. We have 4 high and 4 low.
Yes, and it's the same kind of selector gear that you would get in an SR5, so it's not like the actual stick shifter style that you would get in like a TRD Off-Road or a TRD Pro.
No locking diffs on either differential here.
You have A-Track though.
Yeah, A-Track, which is like basically wheel braking assist.
Yeah, so
to mimic like a, it's like to mimic locking diff. So kind of like a limited slip, I feel like.
Yeah, it's kind of halfway between like an LSD and a locker. So it's fine, but we'll see how it goes. So right now we're in what, 4 high?
Yep, we're in 4 high.
4 high, nothing on in terms of locked up. Oh, so the other feature that we have is downhill assist control. Maybe we'll try that on the first hill over there.
Yeah, maybe I should go back and actually just do the first hill.
Yeah, do the course like normal.
But I'm gonna go this way. These cameras are so bad. Oh my god. It's actually embarrassing that they can put a car out in 2022 with a camera like this. It is disgusting.
There's a lot of features that are so questionably passable as to whether or not they should be in a car.
I'm gonna try and stay in 4 high.
2022.
We need a little bit of speed.
We need speed and what?
Power.
Oh, okay. How to trigger Paulo so early in the morning. Also, by the way, thank you to Road America again for letting us use their off-road course. This should be fun. You're gonna have to just go. We were the last people in here with the Raptor, so we definitely made these little ruts.
I know, but I'm a little nervous.
I don't care. You're gonna have to go. Do you want me to drive? Send it. Let's go. That's it. Full power. Full power. Yes. 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 Ah! Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. We're so close to the edge. At least it felt that way because you can't see anything. It's a blind crest.
No, that's the shitty thing about this is
9.6 inches of ground clearance, 110-inch wheelbase. We did not bottom out there. If we do this hill, we might. Let's try it.
This one's tough because there's a bunch of rocks on the other side.
Let's see if you can stop at the top here. Okay. Oh my god. Also, we should take this time to mention that we do have downhill assist control. We're probably not going to use that because of the snow.
Can't.
And we're hoping we're not going to hit the front of the car. You're just going to have to power out, go, throttle. Oh my god.
Not going to throttle out of that. You just got to let it take you.
Actually, this is doing pretty well. It's feeling pretty sure-footed. I'm not sensing a lot of wheel slip here.
We did bottom out there.
Yeah, so on the breakover, that's that 110-inch wheelbase. Also, we should mention that there's a skid plate over the engine and the front suspension, but not over the transmission, like you would get in something like an off-road or a pro. So, but so far, this thing is done surprisingly well. So the thing about the moguls here is that we typically use the moguls as a test for suspension articulation and travel, and this has X-Rius, like it's street suspension, so it's a little bit firmer. This thing actually drives, it's the best on-road performing 4Runner that I've driven. I haven't driven a limited, but I obviously owned a TRD off-road, and this thing drives so much better on the road. It's probably partially because of the tires and also because of the X-Rius suspension. We don't have KDSS, we don't have the Fox shocks that you would get in the Pro, so we're gonna see what happens here. I would imagine we get a little bit of tripoding, so we'll see. So we're in 4 low now. A-track is off. We might want to turn that on in a minute, but we're gonna leave it off for now and just see how it goes.
I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna like push this thing to the limits in terms of trying to articulate it. I just want to try and get through it. And it's
doing it. Okay, here we go. Look at that. Wow.
That made me a
on
little
street
nervous.
Tires.
That made me a little nervous.
This is amazing. I'm impressed. I'm genuinely impressed. This is the seldom seen Paulo Ducci running to film. This is me. This is me every time we film. It's good to be on the other side of things.
Yeah, now back to our probably, I don't know, maybe
Now
final
back to
thoughts.
your regularly scheduled programming. This thing, I'm impressed. For street tires, and the X-Rius suspension did very well off-road.
Yeah,
especially in snow.
I was almost convinced that we were going to get stuck, and this
we brought the traction board.
Yeah, this thing impressed me, especially actually the way that it handled the bumps out there. So
yeah, it did a good job.
Anyway, 4Runner TRD Sport exterior Lunar Rock. What do you think?
It's the best thing about this thing. From the exterior perspective, the color is the best thing. This and the Army Green, they do a great job with. But yeah.
I agree. That's my favorite exterior color here. In the front, you know, you kind of have this divider similar to what you would expect in, or get in the limited trim.
Yeah, it looks like braces.
Yeah, Matt says braces. I just think it is the ugliest 4Runner trim you could possibly get.
Yeah.
The limited with this divider here.
All this down here is limited, and in the limited, this is like black chrome, so it's a little bit more acceptable. The body color just makes it look chunky to me.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Your headlights, you have LEDs as your main headlights, but the daytime running lights are bulbs, so
yeah,
they look like shit.
Yep.
You have a hood scoop here that is non-functional, but it looks cool. It's very TRD.
Yeah, it's TRD specific stuff, but check it out.
Yeah, a lot of give.
Get the give in
this
the
thing
hood.
is like
And
a
you
tin
can see
can.
it when you're driving.
Yeah.
You know, like.
Yeah, take us along the side.
Who knows? Yeah, around the side, of course, you've got the big 20-inch wheels off the Limited, except they're not finished in like the gloss black that you would get in the Limited. They're wrapped in, of course, the street tires, and we talked about that before. Your wing mirror, you've got the turn signal on there, typically indicating like an SR5 Premium or a Trail Premium or whatever. And then you have auto-deploying running boards, which I've left off for the week because I find them to just kind of be in the way. But I could see why, you know, a smaller person might use them.
Yeah.
Also worth mentioning on the side here, 9.6 inches of ground clearance on the 4-wheel drive 4Runners versus the 9 inches on the 2-wheel drive.
I just looked at here. There's like the little 360 camera. It's like it just reminded me of the worst
like
quality
why
I've
bother?
ever seen.
Why bother?
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense. The only other thing on the side is that C-pillar decal, TRD Sport. It's very classic TRD. So.
And then around the back, the second best thing about the exterior is that you can control the rear glass window back here with these buttons. You used to have to use a key.
That is nice.
And now you can just use these buttons. I think when your fob is near it, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. And the fact that this goes down is like one of my favorite things.
Yeah, it is.
I
is
used
super
it all the time
cool.
in mine.
And then towing. Just want to quickly mention 5,000 pounds.
Yes. Let's jump inside so we don't have to keep looking at this.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it feels very 2009 in here. And I mean, like, I know that's what some people like, to have the old kind of like tactile feel, but this is just not it from a 2022. If you've seen any review, an interior review of a 4Runner in the last decade,
you know
that's what's going on in here.
Yeah, you already know what's going on in here. Yeah, there's a lot of silver in here.
Yeah, that dates it.
Yeah, which is okay. Also, the infotainment system, I mean, this is like a 6-inch screen.
It almost looks like an aftermarket unit.
Yeah, it looks so bad. The cameras are honestly laughable. Like, I can't believe an executive looked at that and said, yep.
Yep.
You have a little tiny digital gauge cluster in the middle, which, I mean, it's better than the one that was in yours. At least it has more pixels.
Yeah.
But it's not great. No auto headlights, which we already kind of mentioned outside. No rain sensing wipers.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, this is the third cheapest at under like $41,000, but still, over $40,000, I would expect at least heated seats, which of course this thing doesn't have.
Yeah.
But it still has the best feature of really any modern press car that we've had in the last, I don't know how many, 3-4 years. It fits the water bottle of truth, which is great.
Yeah, just looking over there, I miss the old style transfer case.
Yeah, mine in my off-road was the actual, like shifter. This is the same thing off a SR5.
Yeah, this
little dial.
I don't really like that at all. You have wired CarPlay, and the connecting your Bluetooth in here. I don't know if it was this specific press car, but we both had problems with it. It was cutting in and out. It was not good.
Specifically on the phone. The music was fine for me, but the phone. On the plus side, in terms of modern things that you do get radar cruise control.
No lane keep assist.
It's okay. You get lane departure warning, which warns you after your two wheels have entered into the other lane. So it's a little late, but I guess you have it, so that's great. The infotainment system that we talked about is technically new for, I think, 2020. But it's still old. You're right. And then you don't get a sunroof in here either.
Yeah, I wish it did at least have that, but that's fine. The seats, you have black Softex leather, so that's fake.
Fake leather, yep.
You do have the silver TRD stitching, which
I don't mind that.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. The visibility is obviously pretty good. Feels good to drive. Rear seats are spacious, and so is the trunk, obviously.
Yeah, it's pretty utilitarian.
This also has a cargo shelf, which I actually really do like. That's cool.
Yeah. The original press car that I tested like a year or two ago was, I think, a Venture, and it had the shelf, and that was the 4Runner that inspired me to buy my 4Runner. And I really like that. My one that I bought didn't have it, but it is nice.
As I'm sitting here, I just think it's like, this is an old person's 4Runner. It's got the deployable running boards to help old people get in. You got the cargo shelf option because people can't reach in the back.
I think, I don't know why you would buy this over a Highlander.
Right.
If you bought this, you should have bought a Highlander.
Yes.
And I think maybe that's a good time to get into the final thoughts. So there it is. That's the 4Runner TRD Sport. And while it's one of the most confusing trims that I think you could apply to a 4Runner, it's not without its merit. It is the best on-road mannered 4Runner that I've ever driven, and that has some value to people. Maybe you just want the simple reliability of the big 4-liter naturally aspirated V6 with the 5-speed transmission. That thing will be bulletproof, and if you just need something to commute with, that's fine. However, fuel economy is a thing, and with gas prices where they are, I can't help but think like if you're just using it for on-road purposes, you would be better suited with a Highlander. Leave it down in the comments which you would take, and we'll see you in the next video.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
I feel bad
So 4 low.
we were crying like little babies at that first though.
Yes.
Why am I burping?
That's
I'm never going to MJ Stevens again.
3, 2, 1. 3.
Do you want me to leave that in the cut? Is that why you counted it
No.
in? We never tested the double punch method.
Okay. I don't want to say braces.
But it is. It's holding those fog lights together like,
Okay, how about
like misaligned teeth.